This looks confident, but it's actually dangerous, unethical, and completely unnecessary. I'm Will, I'm a zoologist, and today we're breaking down influences putting wildlife at risk. Oh yeah, of course, just start chasing it. And belly flop on it. That was obviously completely necessary.
Got a hold of me, but I got a hold of him.
Wait, there's another
another one.
There's another one right here.
Holy shit. Fuck, you got a good piece of my arm there. Look at that guy. Crocodile Johnson eye. Your freshwater crocodile.
Same old tactic, you beat the crap out of an animal on camera, and then you throw in some scientific jargon like the binomial or scientific name there at the end, and then you can frame it as education. Obviously I've got to frame this for you a bit better than just saying what I think. That is a freshwater crocodile, which is not a man-eater, it's not dangerous, it's not a hazard, and it certainly doesn't deserve a beating. There he's got it hanging by the throat, it's making those sounds which are clearly about distress, and the other thing you need to know about crocodiles is that they have lactic acid build up. It can lower the pH in their blood quite quickly because they generate short bursts of speed using an anaerobic metabolism. I know that sounds kind of besides the point, but it absolutely isn't, because on top of putting the animal into, considerable distress, it's actually causing it physical harm or possible physical harm with this potential lactic acid buildup.
Steve Irwin's father Bob has slammed a US influencer for his disgusting treatment of crocodiles.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that if you've pissed off Steve Irwin's dad, you've probably pissed off most Australians.
Irwin joined calls for Holston to be deported after his illegal wildlife interactions in far north Queensland, and said his son Steve should not be blamed. In a statement he said, "This isn't a Steve Irwin issue. This is about an individual illegally interfering with protected fauna."
The truth is that some people do copy Steve Irwin, or they try to copy Steve Irwin in terms of actions, catching a crocodile. But Steve Irwin came from a very different place. He was taught by his dad, if I remember correctly, to catch crocodiles from a young age, and the purpose was always relocating the crocodile. So the goal was avoid a dead crocodile or a dead human, basically take a saltwater crocodile and put it somewhere safer, or a freshwater crocodile if it was in danger or, had some issue arising in its habitat. So I think what he said is fair, they're not really copying Steve Irwin, they might copy him superficially, but they don't copy the spirit behind what he was trying to do.
Just caught a baby wombat.
Oh, holy shit.
Look at the mother. It's like, oh, it's chasing after her.
Anytime you're catching a baby animal and taking it away from the mum for laughs and then laughing about it at the same time and saying, oh, look at the mum chasing, that's kind of a little bit sick, a little bit weird.
I caught a baby wombat. Okay, Mama's right there, and she is pissed. Let's let him go.
No, he's right.
The noises that the baby wombat is making, you can clearly hear it's distressed. It doesn't want to be picked up and, yanked around and carried like that. The mum is pissed. Well, yeah, obviously.
And, I suggest to this so-called influencer, maybe she might try some other Australian animals. Take a baby crocodile from its mother and see how you go there. Take another animal that can actually fight back rather than stealing a baby wombat from its mother.
I would say wombats, they can defend themselves, right? They can defend themselves in a set situation. They've basically got a reinforced backside, like a hearty, cartilage-filled backside that they can plug up their burrow with. So, in a very set, specific circumstance, a wombat can defend itself. But that's in a burrow where they've got things going in their favour. On open ground, a wombat can't really defend itself, and it probably feels very exposed and very unsafe if someone runs up to it. So imagine the distress of the mother wombat when someone runs up and grabs the baby and runs off with it. What I will say on a side note here though is I really do like the way the Aussies stick up for themselves. That's something we've pretty much given up on in Britain, but the idea of having, animals as part of your national identity and sticking up for them, putting laws in place and trying to protect them and conveying that, I think it's good. Yeah, that's what happens. You can see the pig after it bites her. It looks down at the ground, hoping that she's dropped something. At first I saw it and I thought, oh, it's a sow. Maybe she got close to its babies, And actually, I don't think that's what happened. I think people have been feeding them too much. They've been feeding them too often. And pigs are kind of funny, Some of them are very, very sweet. Some of them are very, very nice. But others communicate with you by biting. And that wasn't a bad bite. I'm sure it hurt, but it wasn't, the pig wasn't really going for it there. It's kind of like a pig will get annoyed because it says it's dinner time and you say it's not quite feeding time, or you turn up and it's expecting food and you don't have food, they'll communicate sometimes by nudging you or just biting you. This is quite interesting because he's like shoving his arm in the tiger's mouth here, and the tiger looks like he's thinking, what the hell is going on? You can see he's like a little bit weirded out by it. Nice. Now he's biting. There you go. Tigers are an interesting case because tigers in the wild, they're one of the few animals on the planet which will hunt humans sometimes, you know, if they fancy a different kind of snack, and they are kind of cuddly looking as well though. So what happens is people keep them in captivity and we convince ourselves that they're tame or domesticated. The old rule that got bandied around a lot back in the day was that if you keep an animal in captivity for 7 generations, it's domesticated. I've no idea who came up with that or why. But the other side to tigers is that there's another rumour going around that they will bear a grudge, and that if they decide to kill you one day and eat some of you, they'll do it in the most painful way possible, so potentially gnawing off your leg for half an hour at their leisure. And I think this is what makes this type of content do so well. We've got that funny contrast there. We've got this sweet cuddly looking tiger, which is absolutely beautiful. I mean, if someone said you can stroke that tiger, I'd be hard pressed to resist. And at the same time, we've got someone doing something dangerous with the tiger. So we've got something cute going on with a dangerous animal, and that's what gets the clicks.
A fisherman facing some major backlash after posting this picture on social media.
That's a bad look. I mean, you don't need a zoologist to tell you that's a bad look, posing with a dead baby dolphin.
Yeah, we couldn't tell what it was, but it was rolling around in the surf, like in the wash.
A closer look revealed a young bottlenose dolphin.
Tried to see if it was still alive or if we could revive it.
How?
There was nothing we could do.
Then they snapped this picture and posted it online.
That's where you went
his
wrong.
caption says, "Gotta do what you gotta do to catch a fish." He says he didn't catch it.
Yes, I did pick it up out of the water, but that was me proclaiming that I caught it, and I did not catch it. We found the dolphin dead on the shore.
So dolphin mortality in calves like that could be due to a range of factors. It could be pollution getting into the food chain, diseases, it could be human activity, so anthropogenic factors, or it could be something that is either a combination of those factors or kind of a wildcard situation. And what I would say at this point is I don't believe that that person harmed the dolphin in any way. I think he found it dead, freshly dead by the looks of it, because, you know, I could tell it wasn't long gone. And he did something stupid. He picked it up and he took a photo of it. And that is just something you don't do in Florida, and it's just something you don't do in general because people love dolphins. So while I don't believe that he actually harmed that animal in any way, I believe him. I think he found it dead. It is worth noting at this point that it's illegal to interact with, touch, feed, harass, harm any kind of marine animal in the state of Florida. There's a legal framework to protect it. And I also know that the penalties can be severe. For example, if you intentionally harmed a manatee, you could wind up in jail.